I can't see it. What's up? What's up? Hold on a second. What's good? What's good? Hold on, y'all. Well, whenever you get in here. Come on. The heck? I'm on the right page. What's going on? Okay, there we go. What's up? What's up? What's up? Somebody sent me a message on Instagram. I was just replying. Happy first day of the week. So I'm curious to know if I'll be able to uh, read read any comments that come in without opening up my other thing. Ugh. Okay, there we go. Hit that little poll up there. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So I want to have a little conversation, just a real light. I want this to be just a light conversation, but we need to have this money talk. So first, let me start by saying this. Let me kind of introduce myself to y'all, especially the people who only know me from here. So I used to have an Instagram page when I was in my previous home, the Mercedes Mansion. And when that channel started to grow, I created a Discord page. Now, first off, I used to do a lot of different things on that page. Like it was really dope. I brought energy that people just was not accustomed to seeing, and it was really really dope. But along with that came a lot of drama. So I used to do smoke sessions, and that brought in a lot of people, and not the crowd I was going for. And I used to have a segment called Boss Talk. I used to have a segment talking about marketing. Once we went over to, and then I had a segment on credit and finances, more so credit. And that was more me documenting my credit building journey. Like I do now, but I didn't have any credit, but I had started learning. Now my mother told me, don't get any credit cards. And I felt like that was horrible advice. I felt like it would have been better advised to say, learn about credit. I can't tell you anything about it because I don't know anything about it. But anyway, I stayed away from credit cards. but I started learning about it for years. And after about 4 or 5 years of learning about credit, I finally got a credit card and started doing that. So I did that on my former Instagram page. On a reel, I even cut up my bank debit card and I stopped. Even to this day, I no longer have a debit card and I will never have a bank debit card ever again. So once we moved over to Discord, that's because it's a lot more private and people can't just come in and out like on Instagram Live or even on YouTube Live. But so on there, and anyone, there was quite a few people who were on Instagram that was like, I don't know how to use Discord, blah, 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 blah. I mean, we've been using social media for 20 years at this point. So anyway, nevertheless, once we got on Discord and it was a lot more private, I really pulled out the financially literate Shalanda and introduced them to them. And so I used to bring in, and also cannabis education. So I am also very well versed in cannabis and the different, variations and levels and things like that. And so I had even brought on a cannabis educator in one of the lives, but I used to share a lot of information like through Earn Your Leisure videos, the vault videos in the vault. So just really heavily financially focused once we got on Discord. So I just wanted to lay that out there to say the reason I decided to change my content on this channel is because that is my main focus. That is what I talk about all the time. And that even on this channel, with it being Van Life Inspiration Entrepreneurship, if you watch my channel, you know that the bulk of what I talk about is my entrepreneurship journey and some finances. But I want that to be the forefront, not just a backseat conversation, because that is my focus. And that is my day to day conversation. That is even what I speak about on my Instagram stories. And so I'm introducing that to you guys now because that's really what I'm documenting. I'm not documenting me living in a van. This is just how I live, and I don't want to talk about it. So, um, this is just another portion of that, and this will, again, going forward, will be my main focus of this channel. So, with that being said, let's talk about money. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about finances. And within the Black community, it's not something that we grow up talking about. We don't grow up talking about finances in our home. All of that is just like taboo, private information between just the adults. And I think that is absolutely the wrong way to go about it because children need to know about finances. Children need to know about money. Children need to know about the money that's coming and going in and out of the household. And this is, in my perspective, why I feel like a lot of Black Americans grow up to be adults that absolutely don't know how to manage their money and their finances and attach emotions to finances. And money is emotionless, it's an energy, but money and emotions absolutely don't mix at all. Business and emotions do not mix at all. So if you come in here, definitely check out the poll, answer the poll, do me that solid, hit the like button, and let's get right into it. Now, the reason I asked that question, do you track your money coming in and out, is because many people in a poor mindset do not track their money. They don't track their spending. They don't know exactly what their income is versus their outgoing. They have no idea. And this is something that we need to track all the time. This is something that I do. I've been doing it. And I feel like for me, all of the money habits that I have and the fact that I've even living traditionally, I've always been comfortable living below my means. Even before I realized I was working towards financial literacy, which I'm going to tell y'all about that. My whole thing was I don't like living paycheck to paycheck. So I was doing things to make sure that I was not living paycheck to paycheck. After I got divorced and now everything is just on me, I not even realize it was creating money habits and financial habits that I later would learn about, like 4 years later would learn about. And by then it was already a habit. So one of them, and I discussed some of this in my previous video, but one of my habits, which I still do right now today, it's just my income is different. But I was a licensed cosmetologist. So I was dealing with a lot of cash with the tips that my clients would give me. So I would not spend any of my fives or any of my singles. That was my stash at home that I saved. So I would put them in, um, um, I want to say clumps, but I would put them in stacks of 100. So when my fives would get to 100, I would put a rubber band around them. When my singles would get to 100, I would put a rubber band around them. And this was just my at-home stash. I did not, and right now today, I do not spend my fives or my singles. I stash them away. I also living traditionally, okay, because I've been a nomad before I was a mobile dweller. I've always moved around. But living traditionally, I had money in my savings account and I have money in my checking account because again, I don't I don't like to just spend money just because I have a surplus. I'm not in that habit. I'm not in the habit of just, oh, I got $300 left over after all my bills are paid. Let me just go spend this. That's I won't say never. That was me in my 20s. In my 30s and then post divorce, that absolutely was not me. In my 20s, yes, I felt like my whole motto in my 20s was money is to be spent. Money is to be spent. I did not have any money habits in my 20s. I was not financially literate. I was not smart with my money at all in my 20s. And I actually used to say that money is to be spent. Save money for what? I just wasn't there. I was not there at all. But at the same time, in my 20s, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm back and forth being self-employed. And I thought self-employment was entrepreneurship. Come to find out, I guess that's your very basic level, but it's not the same as being a business owner. So in my 30s, which is, I was married all of my 30s. And then after I got divorced, in my 30s is when I started to acquire better money habits. And I was married to an African who had great money habits as far as just not spending. That's where I learned about doing research on things before you just buy. That's where I really learned the art of comparing, and then kind of like dealing with things that you want to buy, like preying on these things, PREY. Like he would research something and look at it and watch it and put it in his eBay watch list. Like he would watch things for months before he actually pulled the trigger on the purchase. And when he did finally purchase it, he got an amazing price on it. So I learned that from being married. And so once I got divorced, and again, everything was all on me, and the economy was not the same as it was in my 20s, I started to create money habits. I started to track my spending. I started to keep receipts. I started to look at my income versus my outgoing. And I was really turned on about my income. I mean, my expenses, my outgoing expenses being hundreds of dollars below my income. That was a sensation for me. And it was a sensation that I just kept because I saw that I wasn't missing anything. I was able to shop. And I taught my daughter this before I got divorced when she was a teenager. I taught her how to save and spend, how you can have thousands of dollars in the bank. And one December holiday, she went to Bed Bath and Beyond and, just went to the mall and she had spent $500. And I was not even upset, because she had it to spend. But I told her from there, now you got to pull back again. You got to pull back because you just spent 20% of what you have. So, okay, because you have been sacrificing, you have been disciplined, and I'm proud of you for that. So now pull back, continue to save again, So, and even seeing in her little face, like she felt good to know that she had a couple $1,000s in the bank and it didn't take her long to get that saved up. And she was able to go out and spend $500 and not be broke afterwards. And she still had her job. So now she's back on her saving schedule again, like to see how good she felt. And then it just hurt me once she moved out and became an adult and she just threw all that out the window. Like she just completely, it's like I didn't teach her none of that. It's like she never had that experience in her life. So now she's back to living hand to mouth. Like I never even taught her anything. And this is what happens when you don't remove emotion from money and finances, and when you don't track your finances, when you don't pay close attention to exactly what you are spending and exactly what you have coming in. And the thing about me is, I don't care what people say about me, how people look at me. Because when I tell you I have assets in the background growing and that have been growing for 5 years, because in 2020, I was like, okay, I got 10 years. You know what really hit me? What is his name? Seeing Jeffree Star. And not only him, but even other people from that previous decade. From seeing where people were and at the beginning of the decade to where they were, from 2010 to 2020, I was like, okay. So in 2020, I got extremely serious because from 2017, I got serious about learning. So 2020, I was pulling triggers. I was pulling triggers when it came to finances, when it came to being very, very frugal with how I spend and what I spend on, because by 2030, I want to see a big difference from where I started in 2020. And even in The Richest Man in Babylon, the dude gave his son 10 years to go out and prove himself and make something of himself. So there's a lot that we can do in a decade. We can change our entire financial trajectory in 10 years. But it requires discipline, sacrifice, financial literacy, and the discipline to say, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn about finances. You know what? I'm going to start paying attention to what I'm spending. I'm going to start tracking my spending. I'm going to lower my spending and then see what I can do to increase my income, because that is 100% in your control. So I'm going to increase my income. Have drips. I used to talk about this on the Mercedes Mansion. I got money dripping, and these little drips, if you think about a leaky faucet, baby, it may just be one little drip at a time, at a time, at a time. But if you put a bucket under there at the end of a month or a year or 10 years, baby, them drips are going to compound into something substantial. Do you hear me? So let's not disregard having a drip here and a drip there and a drip there and a drip there, because it's compounding. And I've said this before, we want to compound good money habits instead of the bad money habits that we have been compounding for decades, like not knowing how much we're spending, like spending more than we make. It just doesn't make sense. So, a couple of little things that can be done, and it's all redundant because it needs to be. Okay, I feel like these things need to be redundant. So I discussed them in the last three videos at varying degrees that I did. But it is, it may seem small and it may even seem impossible to pay yourself first. But that's a priority. That is a priority. You need to be paying yourself 10% of what you earn, minimum. If you can afford more than that, then do that. But when you get paid, you got to put this away, and you got to remove the emotion from money. They do not mix. Money and emotions don't mix. And look at it. Business and emotion don't mix. You got all these people that done crashed out because Kendrick Lamar got chosen to do the halftime Super Bowl, the halftime show. This ain't personal. This isn't emotional. This is business. This is business. Why is everybody crashing out, wearing their heart on their sleeve over a business decision? And it's the same when it comes to finances and everything else that we as Black people tend to be extremely and overly emotional about. It does not apply. And when it comes to you managing your finances, you need to remove the emotion. Remove the emotion of how you're going to look because you're not able to spend above your means. Why should you care? It should be more embarrassing the fact that you are already living outside of your means. That should be more embarrassing. To be an adult, a fully grown adult, living paycheck to paycheck, that should be the embarrassment. Because you may be able to fool the people outside, but you know at the end of the day that you just spent money that you literally do not have. You just went and bought this thing that you don't need, or went out to eat that you didn't need to, or went to lunch, or whatever it may be. You just spent money that you don't have. And this is what's supremely important about with a pen and paper, not on your phone, not on your tablet. Maybe if you got an Excel spreadsheet, but I think there's something more of a connection about putting a pen and paper in your hand and writing down and itemizing exactly what all of your expenses are and the date that they're going out, the dates that they're due. And then what is your income, your net income? Because that's what you work with. You don't work with your gross. You work with your net, which is after taxes. Writing down your net income. It solidifies something in you because you have the vibration of writing it down. I'm left-handed. So, you're writing it down and you see it. You're looking at it and you're like, whoa, okay. Or you're like, oh, shit. I got a $250 surplus. How come I don't see it? Because you're not tracking your spending. You're not tracking your finances. You are just spending willy-nilly. That's why you don't see it. Damn, I got a $750 surplus. Why am I always broke? Because you're not tracking your finances. You're not paying attention. That's why. There's no rhyme or reason to what you do with your money when you get paid. And this is why financial literacy is supremely important, and why money and emotions just don't mix. They don't mix at all. Because if you look at your life and plan your life in decades, then you'll know. Because here's the thing, the sacrifices you make today is going to benefit the 10-year future you, the 20-year future you. You think you're going to have the same level of energy in 20 years as you got right now to work 100 hours a week, to work 5 jobs? No, you're not. And you're not going to want to. We all see, we all see them great grandparents and senior citizen greeters at Walmart. None of us want to be that. You got to make the sacrifices and put in the discipline now when it comes to your finances. You got to start talking about money. This cannot continue to be taboo in the Black community. You got to start talking about money. You got to start discussing your finances. You got to start laying out every single week. As you see inflation continuing to rise, the things, your necessities are getting more and more expensive, and you're just like money is just flying out of your hands and you don't know where it's going. You're not tracking what you're doing with it. You're not thinking about, okay, things are getting more expensive. So how can I get the things that I need now smarter? All right, maybe I should get a Sam's Club or Costco membership and start buying in bulk. Maybe I should start buying my toilet paper, my tissue, my groceries. Maybe I need to start buying in bulk, because if I buy in bulk, for one, I'm going to get a larger amount for less, and it's going to last me longer. And that says what? That says now you're not buying it as often. Like, that would make sense. That only makes sense. It doesn't make sense to, as inflation continues to rise, which inflation isn't going anywhere, right? We can look back 40 years or 30 years, depending on however old you are. You can look back to when you were a kid and how much things were versus how much they were when you were a teenager versus how much they were in your 20s versus how much they were going on and on and on. So inflation is a thing that's always been around, and it's always going to be around. It's just the rate of inflation. And now the feds just cut rates by 50 basis points, which is 0.5%, right? So how is that going to affect you? You need to know how that's going to affect you. It's going to affect everybody differently. But the people living paycheck to paycheck, it's going to affect them the harshest and the hardest. So remove emotions from your money management and your finances, and make it your business to become financially literate. Make it your business to begin to keep track of your finances every single week and every single month. Every week you need to know what you've spent. You need to keep track of your receipts so that you can itemize what you spent. You need to remove your wants, like I said in one of my previous videos. Baby, them wants. Hey, Plumtree and family. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't paying attention to that. So yeah, you need to remove them wants, because right now, really the priority is just your needs. That's really the priority, and just begin to build up that stability within your finances. If you see, or if you haven't, take a look at not the video that I posted this morning, which I did last night, but the one before that, Rich Aunt, Poor Mom. My rich auntie I went down her mindset in there. It's not that she was rich in the sense of how one may think about rich, but she was rich in the sense of her mindset and how she managed her money, and the fact that we never wanted for anything, the fact that there was never a shortage of anything, and she didn't struggle at all. There was no struggle. She didn't work excessively. She worked just her regular schedule, and she had excess. She had excess money. She had a surplus. We had excess. And that is because she had that abundance mindset and she was financially responsible. She paid attention to what she was spending. She paid attention to her expenses, her outgoing expenses versus her income. Whereas with my poor mom, it was completely different. Completely different. There was a strong lack mindset, and she just spent. When money came in her hands, she just spent it. She don't even know what she spent it on. She just spent it because there was always a need. Something always needed to be paid. Everything was behind, and she was living above her means, even in poverty. You can be in poverty and still live above your means, you know? So the first thing is to track your finances so that you actually know what you have coming in and going out. Pay yourself first. And that money that you pay yourself, that 10% that you set aside, that isn't for you to go and spend. That isn't for you to splurge on the wants. That's for you to build the habit of putting money away and having something to show for the work that you've done. A portion of all you earn is yours to keep. And this, like I just told somebody last night, going over their finances with them, you need to repeat this 100 times a day if you need to. A portion of all you earn is yours to keep. So put away 10% first. One thing that you hear if you start studying the wealthy, one of the major things that they say that they do that poor people don't do is they put away money first and then spend what's left. Whereas poor people try and save what's left after spending. And like I said in my previous video, that never works. You can't pay your bills, go grocery shopping, uh, put gas in your car or buy your bus pass and then try and save what's left. It's never going to work. But if you put away your 10% first and then divvy up everything from that, you'll begin to notice that you're not missing that 10%. And then you start to allocate 20% to your debt. So now the very first thing you do, you're going to pay yourself that 10% first, off top. Every paycheck, 10%, boom, that's yours. Your paycheck is $1,000, $10 you put away, that's yours. All right, so now you have $900 left. 20% of that, now you go to start paying debt with that 20%, right? This is just debt. And that other 70%, this is what you pay your life with. You know what I mean? Rent, utilities, you know, your life, your necessities. So as you begin to do that, you'll start to see that, oh, I'm able to do more with what's left than I am in the reverse. And this is because you have a focus. This is because you now have a discipline and a budget that you're actually sticking to versus not having a budget. When you don't have a budget and you get your $1,000 paycheck, The first thing most people do who live hand to mouth is they go out and spend it on a complete unnecessary, buying themselves something to eat, something unnecessary. You can fill in the blank. But that is the first thing you do, most people, when they get paid. They go and buy some unnecessary something before they pay the bill, definitely before they pay themselves, because your 10% is not to go and buy. You don't eat that. You don't eat that. Like it says in The Richest Man in Babylon, this money that you're putting away is so that you can accumulate it to send those little money soldiers out to work and bring back more money soldiers. You don't want to eat them before they mature and are able to go out there and go to work. You want to keep them safe, keep them put away until you get a nice little lump sum of them. And now you go and send them out to work so that they can bring back more money soldiers for you. You see? So having a budget is just, it completely shifts your frame of mind around your money and your finances and how you spend money. And I'm telling you this from being in a position where I was just, again, I felt like money was to be spent, and I just did exactly what I'm saying, which is what most people do. I wasn't any different. And once I decided that I do not want to live hand to mouth, I do not want to live paycheck to paycheck. I want to have money stashed away at home in cash. I want to have money in my savings account and money in my checking account. And that was before I even started investing. I wasn't even investing at that time. I was just being smarter about my money. I was everything. And I had absolutely everything. I had a closet full of clothes, many of them brand new. When I left Minnesota, I was giving away stuff with tags on it. I had a pair of boots that I had never worn. These boots were $185. I got them for $5. It was the R&B store in Southtown Mall, Southdale Mall, the R&B store. They were having a spring clearance, and damn near everything was $5. These boots came, I think they were up to my thigh. I have a picture of them in my photo shoot, one of the photo shoots that I did for my 40th birthday. And these babies were fire. Okay, these was some sexy boots, and they were $185 retail. R&B with their spring sale, they were $5, baby. $5. And I have so many, I started buying leather when I was 19, leather coats and jackets. And like, that was just my preference. So I would, Wilson's Leather in Georgetown, those were my stores. And back when I was 19, 20, 21, I would, because Wilson's had layaway. So I would buy my expensive, like the expensive ones, I would buy them on layaway. And by this time in my 30s, when my ex-husband and I was making great money and I was becoming more financially smart, um, but I would buy things on clearance at Wilson's or on 50% off sale, So if they had a 50% off, I'm shooting right to the Mall of America. I wasn't even planning on getting something, but you got this 50% off sale because I had it. I had the disposable income on top of my surplus, on top of having money saved, And again, this was before I started investing, and this was before I even dipped into credit. I paid everything cash. I didn't have any credit cards. I did everything cash. I paid for it in full. So, there's so many different levels of managing your finances, but it all starts with the basics, and that is creating a budget and keeping track of every single thing that you spend. Everything. Keeping track of your outgoing versus your incoming. And I know I'm saying it over and over again because people need to hear it. People need to hear that, because this is what people living paycheck to paycheck do not do. It is not a habit, and it has to become a habit. It has to be something that is just second nature. It becomes second nature along with studying. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, The Richest Man in Babylon is the easiest, most clear financial plan that you can follow. The free audiobook is right here on YouTube. There's no excuses. If you don't know how to create a budget, listen to that book on a regular basis, and it has the financial plan laid out for you. And I say it's easier to follow versus scripture, because scripture has the same financial plan. This book may be easier for you to follow, okay, because it's shorter, right? But if you are having trouble, just read that book and follow exactly, do exactly what it says. That's it. It's dummy proof. The only thing it really requires is discipline. And if you have children at home and finances and money is not a regular part of your conversation, this is something that the wealthy do and talk about and teach their children that, again, we don't. Not we as in Black people. Well, we as in Black people, we don't do that. You need to start including your children, teenagers, your young adults in. Sit down. Every time you get paid, it should be a ceremony of y'all sit down at the table, you share, this is how much you got paid, open up your bank account. This is what we have. All right. These are all the bills going out, because it's going to include their needs as well. You got to buy their clothes, their shoes. You got to buy maybe you paying for their lunch. They need to see this because they're coming into adulthood. They are not reverting back into the womb. At some point, they are going to have their own finances to manage, and they're going to be bringing in their own money, and they need to know what to do. And you guys can learn this together because you'll be giving them a head start, and then start learning about investing. So that's what I want to go into next, my investments. So I started investing. I'm going to speak just about my stock market investment. Like I said, I have drips, right? And even that, I have a couple of brokerage accounts. But I started investing into the stock market in 2020. 2020, I pulled the trigger after learning. And when I decide to do something, I go all in. So from 2017, all I watched, all I read, all I listened to, the only people, I went to seminars, everything. It was just about investment. Real estate investing, because that's my next trigger within the next 5 years. That's the next trigger I'm going to pull. But real estate investing and Wall Street, investing in the stock market, investing and buying shares of ownership into the businesses, because that's what they are. The stock market is full of actual companies. These are not just numbers. These are actual companies that have gone public and are now on the stock market, meaning you can get shares of ownership in them. So they will send you out a prospectus. You know, depending, like if you're just buying individual stocks, like I have some individual stocks, you know, and you're on the investment calls and things like that. So I started investing in the stock market in 2020, and I continue to invest. Now, here's a couple of things that I've done. I have my long-term, both my personal, and I have a Roth retirement account. So my long-term, I continue to increase my positions in my long-term companies, not even looking at that at all. I don't care if the market goes up or down, doesn't even matter to me. I'm going to continue to buy in. I spoke about dollar cost averaging in one of my other videos. Now, I also had some companies that I was in for the short term that I just wanted to get in, grow some money. I'm not a trader. I tried to learn about trading. I tried to do some trading. I'm not into that. That's not my thing. Um, I like investing, right? So I did have some short-term investments that I did that for the purpose of doubling my money or tripling my money. And so once that happened, then I sold those shares and I was able to utilize that money, whether it was whether I put it into some of my long-term stocks or whether I pulled it out because I needed to use it. So that's something that I've done since 2020. And so at this point right now, everything that I own is all long term and I'm acquiring more and I'm diversifying my portfolio. So I have um, single stocks, companies, Amazon, Apple. I have ETFs. So I do invest in the S&P 500, which is the ETF. So the S&P 500 is 500 of the largest companies. So I do have a S&P 500. I also have some bonds and I have some U.S. Treasuries. So, and I have a gold trust. Yeah, I have a gold trust that I've invested in as well. So anyway, all of these are long term. And from 2020 to right now, so far, my investment has tripled from what I initially invested. And so again, I continue to put money and increase my position in these companies and the ETFs. I also at now where I'm heavily focused on now, which I did start in 2020, but now at this stage, being 50, I am heavily focused on dividends because in the next 5 years, I want to be able to have a good dividend income. So now I am really focused on dividend stocks and dividend ETFs. So, uh, and that's exciting for me because it's just it's income. It's something that you're paid quarterly. Like even now, I love it when the dividends hit my account. Like I love it. It's just it's exciting because that is actual true passive income. I'm not doing anything and they just pay me, you know, just for being an owner in the company. So that's my heavy focus now because I'm 50. So I want that to really accrue more and more. So that's what I do with that. And also, I when I look into buying into a company, I do not buy into companies that are new. I look at companies that are established, that have been around more than 20 to 25 years. And I look in segments that are stable, that are um, not as volatile, that are gonna be here. Like these they're gonna be here because this is a necessity for life. Like I have an electric company, and this electric company service umpteen different states. They also have a great dividend, but they are not going anywhere. And so it doesn't matter to me what happens, what the stock market does, because the thing about it is, at the time that, depending on when you get in, so me at the time that I bought into these companies, everything is I, I'm I'm up. I'm up no matter what happens. Even when Amazon just recently, Amazon went down like 60 or 70, $80, I was still up because of how much it was per share when I got in. Same with Apple. No matter what Apple does, I'm up, whether no matter how far down it goes. Unless it goes down below $100, then I'm going to be up. So it doesn't matter. And again, these are long term. I won't be looking to take any money out of these until for at least the next 15 years. It's not even on my radar. So that's how I do my stock market investment. These are actual companies, and I don't I don't like to burn the candle at both ends. One thing that I first started doing and started thinking about is the companies that I would use. I would recommend you invest in those. So unless they're just unless they're shitty companies, you know what I mean? But for example, if you use Apple products, it would behoove you to own shares of Apple. It would absolutely behoove you. And Apple pays dividends, and it would behoove you to, every pay period or every month, just this is a part of putting money away and investing and just forgetting about it, because that money is growing. That money is growing, it's accruing interest, much more interest than it ever would in a bank. And you got to understand um, depreciation. And especially considering here in the United States, we're just dealing with funny money. You know, we're just dealing with funny money. We're no longer um, on the gold standard. So you gotta put your money into assets, into actual assets. And the Wall Street, the stock market is an asset. Real estate is an asset. Whether you go into corporate real estate, commercial real estate, or residential real estate, it is an asset. And from what I've been learning over the years since 2017, which is why I've decided I'm going to go the commercial route. It is so much easier to get a commercial real estate loan than it is a residential. Now, I'm not talking about for a home to live in, but from what I've learned over the years from those who do it, it is much easier to get a commercial real estate loan from the bank than it is to get a loan for a apartment building. But it's easier to get a loan for an apartment building than it is to get a loan for a single family home. So I've decided I'm going to figure that out for myself, and I'm going to go into commercial real estate, just because being someone who is self-employed, and I like 1 degree of separation from between me and my money. Anytime I create a business and I'm working directly for whoever, I always shoot for the high earners. Always. I don't shoot for people working for minimum wage or just barely above. When I created my cleaning business, which is why I came out here to Orange County, I wanted business owners, entrepreneurs who were making over 6 figures. And that was the clientele that I built. And being paid was just easy. It was no problem. The way I had it all set out when I raised my rates, it was not a problem. So I would rather go into commercial real estate because I want to work with businesses. I don't want to have to I don't want my income relying on people who are working and renting. I just don't want to do that. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Again, I'm not even there yet. I'm not even there yet, so I can't speak on it. But this has been my plan as I've been learning from 2017 about real estate investing. So that's where I'm going to go with it. But anyway, so another thing that I do is I buy silver. I buy silver coins, and at the same time, I'm saving up to buy gold coins. But I do buy little gold jewelry, you know what I mean, and make sure it's solid gold and go to reputable places. But I'm saving in the background, and this is all in the background. Like, y'all don't know any of this about me. And this is also why I'm so frugal and why I live so far below my means, because these are the things that are important to me. Even right now, I don't spend my $5 bills and I don't spend my singles, you know? So I save my, I buy silver coins. So I buy silver coins right now. And, um, it's a form of currency. And this is just a backup. It's a backup. Hey, Kim. I think I get it. I think I get I think I get what you're saying. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yes, figure it out. You are missing a lot info. You have to invest in companies. Is that with or wow? Who have the same beliefs? Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree with that. You are still accountable. I agree with that. And see, this is where I started it also. I do agree with that, but I want to add a caveat. And that is why this is titled, money and emotions don't mix. Money and emotions don't mix. We like to add emotion into things where emotion doesn't mix. But I agree. Even when I look into, so like the ETF that the stock that's the what I have that's in the S&P 500. I look into the companies that they're holding because I don't want any involvement with Pfizer, and there are companies that I will not give my money to. Meta, I'm not I don't want any involvement. I don't want to fund Meta and whatever Zuckfuck is doing. I'm not going to fund Pfizer and things like that because it's just completely go against my morals. Um, but I have zero emotions attached to how I conduct my finances, which is why I am an active investor. I'm not just talking about what I wish. This is why I'm an active investor and have been for going on 5 years, which is just a short period of time. Like I'm new at this, which is why all of my conversation and why I'm introducing it on this, because it was just a struggle to talk about van life because that's not what I talk about. For me, everything I watch, all of the audiobooks, everything I learn about since 2017 has been about finances. I even got my Earn Your Leisure Assets Over Liabilities t-shirt on. That's just where I'm at. And it's not emotional. So yes, we are accountable for our finances, and even on the video that I recorded last night that I posted today, I started off reading the scripture and how even in scripture, um, not being, not producing is frowned upon because we were commanded to go forth and multiply. And this is why the have nots continue to have not, because even that which you have will be taken from you for not being productive, for not being productive. And this is right here. It was Matthew 25 verses 14 through 29 that I read on that video. And so, yes, we are accountable for how we manage our money, for how we conduct our finances, for keeping track of our spending. We are accountable for putting away money. Money is attracted to the one who keeps some, and it's just going to continue. It's an energy, and you just got to, money needs to be circulated. It has to be circulated. It has to, and not just spent frivolously. I mean, it's got to be circulated in a healthy manner, and it needs to be put in places where it can produce and multiply and bring back more and bring back more and bring back more. So yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. There are plenty of companies, and then I won't go into the medical market. I don't invest in that sector. I don't invest in that sector. But I do personally invest in US companies because I'm American. And I think my top priority is stimulating the American economy, the US economy. So I do invest in US companies, American companies. That's my main priority. Um, I'm just not interested in investing in, to be specific, Chinese companies, um, which I probably have a double standard about that because I have and I will use Chinese manufacturers. So on one end, I am stimulating that economy, you know, but it's also for the purpose of creating product to sell in America to Americans. And that will still go into stimulating this economy. But, that's just my double standard that I'm willing to admit. You know what I mean? I think most people have double standards. I just have no problem admitting mine. And that's one of them. That is one of them. So, yeah, I agree. I still think it's better to get started than it is to not. I think it's better to, and no one has to invest in the stock market. There are so many ways and options for investing. That's just one of the ways I choose to do. Like I say, I also choose to buy silver and gold. And these are not things that I will be selling. These are long term. At some point, these will be put into my trust and they will be passed on and be there and divvied up and dispersed between for my great grandchildren. Everything that I build and everything that I'm focusing on, even in this next 5 years, so I can calculate what I did in this decade from 2020 to 2030. So that includes my journals that are on Amazon right now, that are selling on Amazon, and the ones that I'm working on right now. That includes all of my different portfolios that I have on the different brokerages that I have. That includes that. That includes my YouTube channel, which is monetized, and that's a drip. You know what I mean? These drips count as well. So it's just, there's something out there. But before you even get to that, I think it's vital that you start creating a budget and tracking your spending. That's vital. And to know what your outgoing expenses are in contrast with your income. So you need to know if you are already living above your means. You need to know already if your outgoing expenses are more than your income. You need to know what your surplus is. You need to know why you don't have any money at the end of the month, especially if you have a surplus. Because I can already tell you right now, it's because you're not tracking. If you have a surplus, if you do the numbers and it turns out that you have a surplus, but you don't see it, you need to create a budget. And it's just that simple. You need to create a budget and stick to that budget. You need to get in the habit of paying yourself first, putting money away. Let that be a habit that you start from your next pay period, your next pay period, putting money away. Because again, just like the last statement, you are still accountable. You are accountable for why you have a surplus and it's gone, why you're just blowing through it. You're accountable for why your outgoing expenses exceed your income. So, even within this decade, there's 5 years. Or maybe you just want to start fresh, right? Start fresh from 2025 and calculate that decade to 2035. But you got 10 years. Think about your life in 10-year increments. And maybe this will help shape how you view your life and your spending and your disciplines and your habits. It can be done. And again, as Black people, we need to start talking about money and finances without the emotion. Without the emotion. They just don't mix. They don't mix at all. At all. Because at the end of the day, nobody is coming to save you. There's no admiration in poverty at all. From Genesis all the way through, Scripture speaks heavily about riches and wealth and knowledge and wisdom. So there's no reason for anyone who claims to be a person of God, a person who is spiritual. I don't know about, if you into any man-made religions, but I'm talking about as spiritual beings. There's no reason to be living below the poverty line. And there's no reason to feel shame for living below your means. Because again, as your means increase and you're still living below those means, you're not going to be suffering. But who are you trying to impress? Who are you trying to impress? It should just be yourself. It should just be your future self. You should look back. Like right now, I'm so proud of myself for pulling that trigger in 2020. In 2020, when I pulled the trigger, one thing I said as I was co-living, I was like, I'm so glad I started learning about this in 2017. I was like, I'm so glad, because my focus was, I got to figure out how to be a business owner, how to go from self-employment to actual entrepreneurship. And that's still the path that I'm on. But in 2020, when I made my first even when I just downloaded Webull, that's one of the brokerages that I use. Even when I downloaded, I was just like, I'm so glad I started learning about this 3 years ago. And I felt confident. And then I was even learning more. I was all in on Wall Street Trapper. I'm watching all his videos. I'm learning. I was learning from everybody. Myron Golden. I'm learning from everybody. Do you hear me? Everybody, especially those that looked like me, because they were speaking the language that I could understand. They was talking in my verbiage, and they look like me, so they understand where I come from. They understand that talking about money in the home is not how we grew up. They got that. So I could easily, and then for me personally, just speaking for me, Shalanda Elise, I learn extremely well from Black men. Those are my favorite to learn from. Black men, I learn very easily, and I learn extremely well from Black men. So I was all in. And I was glad in 2020, the 2020 me was very proud of the 2017 me. Job well done, thou good and faithful servant, okay? And now, here I am, and I am extremely proud of the 2020 me. Because it was rough. It was rough. It was rough. And even now, it's still rough, but it's easier. It's easier now because I see the compound. I see the accumulation. I feel good when I look at it. And then I have more little drips in different places now. And again, it's tough because I'm not where I will be in 5 years. I'm not where I will be in 10 years. I'm not where I will be in 15 years, but to be where I am right now, to be able to breathe and think and really formulate a plan and figure out this whole business thing, knowing that I'm not suffering, it feels good. Again, I don't care how people look at me. That makes me no never mind at all. I do not care. Okay. I am Jimmy Crack Corn. I don't care because I know what I have in the background. I feel good when I go to where I buy my silver coins. I feel good walking in there knowing I'm coming out of my van home, living in a van, living as a mobile dweller since 2017. I feel good with my pretty brown face walking in there to buy my silver coins. Because I don't know how many people they see look like me that come in there, but they see me. They see me coming in. They're discussing this with me. They're answering my questions, and I have questions. I feel very, very, very good about that. I feel good stashing that shit away somewhere private, protected. Okay. I feel good about that. I don't care about what I look like on the forefront. I do not care. What Stevie Wonder say? Her clothes are old, but never are they dirty. Okay. So I um am doing things that I've never done before. I've always shopped retail. I've always had things new. I was the only girl. I was the youngest. When my aunt raised me, she didn't have any children. I was just me. So I've never in my life had hand-me-downs. I've never had hand-me-downs. I don't have any sisters. I don't have any big sisters. I I I have two cousins and we're stair steps, the three of us, but I was the oldest and the biggest. So they got my hand-me-downs. I never wore hand-me-downs. Now I'm like, I enjoy learning how to be a thrifter. I enjoy thrifting my clothes because I get sick of them quick. So I want to recycle them quick. And I keep very, very little because I live in a small space. I don't have time to be having an abundance of laundry to do all the damn time. I recycle my clothes. I wear my pants and my tops uh, at least 3 times before I even consider them dirty. And I like that. I've never done any of these things before. And I'm okay with it because although I had a stash of cash at home, I have money in my savings and money in my checking. My rent came out automatically. I didn't have to think about it. It was automatic withdrawal from my bank account. The money was always there. I could afford my life. All of my cars have always been bought and paid for. I've never, ever, ever had a car note. So living like that, everything I had was brand new. And I had a ton. I had a lot of stuff, a lot of clothes, a lot of shoes. And I kept my closet organized, color coordinated. I kept all my shoes in the shoe boxes, fucking stacks and stacks. I've always had a lot of stuff, but it was all brand new retail. And I still had my finances in order before I even realized what I was doing. I just, again, I didn't want to live paycheck to paycheck. So all I did at that time was worked out and went to the salon. That was it. I worked at a salon. And that's all I did was work out. When I did laundry, like I didn't have a social life. When I did laundry, it was just all my workout clothes. And I didn't buy fancy workout clothes. I bought my shit from Walmart and Goodwill. Not even like it was just shorts and random t-shirts. And I would just cut it up. So I didn't go anywhere. I wasn't spending money just because I had it to spend because I liked watching it grow. I liked watching the thousands grow in my savings account. I liked watching my thousands grow in my little box under my bed, my fives and my ones. That's what turned me on. So now that I have just put my living all the way down, removed the overhead of having rent. Now I don't have that burden, whether I could afford it or not. It's a burden. It's an unnecessary expense, especially for me right now. I don't have utilities. So I don't have all them thousands to spend already. My outgoing expenses are damn near nothing. So, and I have assets growing. So I don't care what I look like. You know what I mean? As long as I'm clean and as long as my clothes are clean, they're going to be used. Matter of fact, these aren't used. I had to go get my garbage bags from Walmart, and that's all I went there for. Again, I don't lose focus. That's all I went there for. But as I was walking back, they got the clothes right by the self-checkout. And I saw $7. And that's what caught my attention next to these cute cargo pants. So I went and read it. Wait a minute, I think I had the right one. I went and read it. I said, if these are $7, I'll get a pair of these because these are cute. And it said was $18.50, now $7. And also, it's some men's jeans that I buy at Walmart. They're $16.92 or something. So I buy them new from Walmart. But look at these. These are so cute. $7. $7. Baby, Goodwill prices brand new. You hear me? Goodwill prices brand new. Thrift store prices brand new. So I just bought these the other night. But besides that, I don't spend money. I'm very, 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 very frugal. I'm very frugal. So, yeah, money over emotions, baby. Money over emotions. Financial literacy is what we need more of in the Black community, and we need to talk about it more in our homes. So, I hope this video was not too all over the place, but I think it was important. I feel like it was important, and I just wanted to come and discuss it and share because it's important. And it's something we need to become more comfortable with. We need to get a lot more comfortable with talking about money, asking money questions, even of the like our utility companies. We need to ask them a lot more questions. We need to know the dollars and cents and the due dates, and we need to know how much money is going out and just be a lot more serious when it comes to giving out money. We need to be a lot more serious about that and not be so bashful. That's the word. We need to not be so bashful when it comes to talking about money, asking about money that's owed to you, asking when you look over your bills, which is something that should be done on a regular basis. When I lived traditionally, baby, I looked over my paper bills with a fine-tooth comb every single time one came to my home, okay? And I did not go paperless. Y'all are going to send me a bill. I need to see exactly what's on here. No, I'm not doing that paperless. You're going to send me a bill, and I need to see everything. I'm opening it up, and I'm looking at everything, every line. Because if it's a line on here, that's some BS. I'm going to call you. If I notice this bill is 85 cents more than it was last month, and it's been the same price for the last 4 months, where's this 85 cents coming from? What is this? Because no, it's not just 85 cents. That 85 cents times 12. Or maybe this month is 85 cents. Maybe next month is going to be $1.25. And then the month after that, it's going to be $2.50. And see, they'll just keep creeping it up on you because you're not paying attention. And then you're too bashful to call and ask. Nope. Nope, nope. Because the same way this company is working for their money and the employees are working for their money, I don't have it to just give to you. I don't feel bashful about calling over, and you're going to be on this phone with me as we go down line item by line item what this is, and you're going to explain to me until I fully comprehend exactly what you're telling me, and it better make sense because I'm the one that's paying this bill. So we're going to go over it line item by line item. And this is something that I was in a regular. Oh, and Comcast was a big culprit. I had to stay on their backs because, honey, they'll sneak in some charges on you and you would just think, and I didn't watch TV enough. I watched movies, but I had like, and then they force these different things on you. And it's like, I don't need that. I just need internet. Well, you got to have this and yada, yada, yada. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to call you mofos every single month if this bill look a little shady. And that's just what it is. And that also contributed to, me being good with having money and having a surplus because them little tools and fuse add up and I don't have it to just give away. That's mine. I'm not just going to give it to you. And I don't feel bashful or ashamed of calling you. We want to feel like we got it knowing good and damn well we don't. And it's not an embarrassment. Like companies take advantage of people, especially poor people who are embarrassed about talking about money because they know you're not going to call and ask about it or demand an answer over what this is. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. Hey, delicately blessed. I like that. Comcast is good for that. My bill's over. Yes, yes. Call them Ace. They are good for that. They are good for that. And I was good for taking that credit that they would give me too. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss McCullough. I bet you are. I bet you are. But I need you to be careful. I don't need you to be sorry. I need you to be careful because this is my bill. And I hardly turn this mess on. So, you know, you got the right one. You got the right one. Definitely call them ASAP, and then, I would look, they get you that Comcast. They used to piss me off because that whole automated system, and I would tell them too. I said, y'all frustrate the hell out of people with this automated system. So by the time somebody come on, they so frustrated, that damn automated system would get on my nerves, but I would have to just cool myself down because we gonna get to the bottom of this. We're gonna get to the bottom of it. And that's why I did not do that paperless nonsense because I need to see exactly. And also I used to work at a phone company. So I even when I got it, I didn't work at Comcast. I worked at Frontier, and Frontier billed a month ahead. So I had to learn how that really broke down because I needed to explain it to people. So that's another thing too. You need to know exactly how these utility companies bill. Do they bill a month ahead or a month behind or whatever it is? Because that's going to make a difference as well in how your bill may fluctuate or prorated and different things like that. But have them break it down to you as slow as they need to for you to really comprehend. Right, right. And I would have them slow down. See, you taking me back to my living traditional days, but yes, I would have them slow down, especially when it was an Indian, which is one of my least favorite accents. But I would have them slow down, baby, slow down. I said, because all that fast talking, you know what I mean? You talking fast, and then you got this accent, and it's look, we got language barriers. Ain't no accent you can sell me, okay? Slow down. And then I would tell them too, and T-Mobile is good for that. I would tell them I don't need all the sweet words. I don't need. Thank you for Thank you for being a customer. Thank you. We appreciate. I said, look, I don't need all them sweet words. Let's just get to the point. I don't need all that. I don't need all that. I can't listen to you blow smoke up my butt for the next 90 seconds. I would cut them off of that too. I don't want to hear all them sweet words. Like, I feel like everything is a scam these days. And that is why, when it comes to our finances, we need to remove the bashfulness and remove any shame around, oh, I don't want to look like I can't afford it. You can't. You can't afford it. But don't look like a sucker either. Don't look like a sucker just allowing these people to tack on things to your bill and you just paying it. And everything is going up except for your income. Everything is going up except for your pay rate. You know, no, no, no. I agree. It do feel like everything is a scam. And that's why I would calm myself down from all that press this, press that. If you here, press that. And if you there, press that and this and that. And that I didn't understand and all this shit with them automated systems, because I'm going to get to a human. I'm going to get to a human. I may be drained and really frustrated to the max. But by the time a human gets on, I'm going to calm myself down because now you about to be on here for the next 30 minutes. Because, baby, I got time. You're about to explain this to me. Because what I don't have is 15 cents to just give you every single month. That's going to add up at the end of 12 months. That's going to add up. I don't play about my finances, y'all. That's all I'm here to say. I may look broke. I may be broke. I may be black. I may even be ugly. But goddamn it, I'm here. Do you hear me? I'm here, and I have assets, and I have money growing in the background in several different places. Okay, and that's what that says. I don't play about my finances, and I'm financially literate, and I'm financially responsible. That's what that says. Girl, you speaking my language tonight. For real. My grandpa used to always say, no matter how much money you have, these companies have more than you. And that's what? That says you don't have a quarter to give to them. Exactly. Exactly. I'm with granddad on that one. Exactly. Because I'm going to make them slow down. I'm going to make them explain it to me. And here's another thing, because again, I used to do customer service in a call center at phone company and other different places. I wasn't cussing them out. I wasn't because they just work there. But because you work here, you're going to explain this bill to me. And if shame on you, you can't, you're going to get me a supervisor. You're going to get me somebody who can. But I'm going to be patient because I am very patient. I'm very, very patient. But you're going to explain this to me. You are going to explain to me, okay, now this here, okay, so how do you bill? Do you bill a month ahead? You're going to explain all of it to me. Because here's how it helps. It helps you to know how to navigate your utilities. Do you just have lights running? Do you, like I was just explaining to somebody last night, again, who I was going over their finances with them. Here in California and in Arizona, I don't remember the time frame, but it's like in the middle of the day, the wattage usage for your lights, washing machine, for electricity, it increases by like triple the amount. It goes up. So here in California, I think in Arizona they may have also, but here in California they have commercials and different advertisements on the radio about not using your electricity during these hours because it's going to cost you more, and these are things that it makes a difference because you'll see $150 to $300 increase on your electricity bill just by using and running electricity during these high usage, high rate usage time frames. All of these little things you need to know. You need to know if when you get a new service, if you're moving and you get a new service, you're starting up a new service, you need to know how they bill. You need to know what the prorated amount is going to be so that you can allocate and budget accordingly. It's for the purpose of being able to budget accordingly, because it's not difficult to know for even between summer and winter how much your bills are going to vary. It is not difficult to know, but it goes by having a budget and then having the discipline to say, okay, it's summer. Okay, so it's going to be cheaper. If you're an AC type person, it's cheaper to just run the AC all day long than it is to cut it on and off, on and off, on and off. If when you cut it on, then just leave it on, or have a set amount of hours that you're going to have it on. If you're not going to run it, don't run it. Don't run it, because the fluctuation, you may not think so, but that right there can do damage to your bill. That can do damage to your bill. Little things, if you pay water, it makes a difference on, and I had my ex-husband and I, one of the first place that we lived together, like after we moved to where he lived at with his former roommate, when I moved in with him, when we got married, the first place we lived after that, and we was only there for 1 year because we had to pay water. Baby, that was a struggle for me. Okay. He was coming from being in the African military, not the actual military, but they have like ROTC. It's just a regular part, and it's very military style. So he had those disciplines. But for me, it was difficult because I am a water runner. Okay. I run water, and everything had to be reduced. Brushing my teeth, um, there was no water. We paid attention to if anything was dripping, there could be no drips. There could be no drips from the bathtub, nothing. Everything, when we shut it off, it had to be off. It could not be a drip because now we're paying for it. Doing dishes, like everything. And so little things like that, if you're paying for water, make sure there's no faucets dripping. The toilet, make sure the toilet's not just running excessively. After you flush it and it fill up, that mug should stop. If it's still running and water's still running, then get somebody on that, because it's going to cost you. All of these little things, and it may sound petty, but baby, there's nothing pettier than living paycheck to paycheck as a fully grown adult. Let's be clear. There's nothing pettier than that. I manage a call center, and trust me when I tell you, there is a method to the madness. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. So you feel me? Like I wouldn't be irate or nothing like that. But I got to the bottom of every bill. And again, I can't stress enough that paperless, I feel like that's a setup too. Paperless, that's a setup, because they rly on people not paying attention. These companies rely on the public's financial ignorance. Let's just be honest. I'm just being honest. They rely on your financial ignorance. They rely on the people who live below the poverty line, who are bashful about talking about money. They rely on that. Their profitability is in your financial ignorance. So the financially intelligent you can make yourself, the more financially literate you can become, the more you talk about money, the more you go over your finances, your bills, everything that's outgoing, the less you'll be able to be taken advantage of, and the less money you'll just be giving away, because you don't have it to just give away. And the same way them little twos and fews can add up on their bottom line, they're taken away from your bottom line. And it makes a difference. You got to think about your own bottom line. I'm so bad at budgeting. As long as my four walls and my ties are taken care of. I don't. Oh, that's horrible. This tonight was a sign. Yep. I need to be more mindful of my finances. Exactly. And the video that I recorded last night and posted today, that's why I started off with scripture. I started off with scripture because scripture speaks exactly to that, and it mimics the richest man in Babylon. It mimics a few of the laws of gold in the richest man in Babylon. Check out that video if you haven't. I just posted it this morning. It's just it's like 9 minutes long, just a very short video. But yes, that's good. I'm glad you are here, delicately blessed, because yeah, you gotta. And then well, check out the video, but definitely read the scripture as well. But check out the video. But the scripture that I read from was Matthew 25, verses 14 to 29. So you can read it for yourself, but also watch the video so you can see how they come together. And like I spoke about earlier in this live, the richest man in Babylon it lays out a clear financial plan for you, which is relevant. It's relevant. This is not some, it's relevant, and it will help you to know how to put together a budget. I also have a few other videos going over it as well. But yeah, budgeting is important. I love this new content. Thank you. I do too. It's more aligned with me and my goals and what I talk about on a regular basis. So, and again, I have studied this for a very long time, and I too have come a long way. I've come a long way. Like I said, in my 20s, I felt like money was just to be spent. And I said that publicly out loud. I said that with my chest, with my October Libra chest. Do you hear me? Money is to be spent. I was like, what is the point of saving? And then I had to figure out how to budget and how to manage it. The same with planning. I had to figure out how to work a plan. I had to figure it out. Like these are things that I've had to learn how to work a plan. Because again, me being a free spirit, I would put together a plan, life with life, and then I would just throw the plan out the window because I'm agile. I'm flexible. I can pivot. But I would do it while just ditching my plan. And what helped me with that, and this is aligned with the budgeting as well. I heard it, I don't remember where I heard it from, but it was said that a plan and a budget is like when you put in your destination in your GPS. If it needs to reroute you, it doesn't send you back home or back to where you started from. It will reroute you while still getting you to the destination that you put in. Now, if every 5 blocks you change the destination, okay, now I'm going here, now I'm going here. Like, you're never going to end up getting where you're going. And at some point, it's going to, hold on. My bad. Oh, shit. At some point, no, monopolize. I like it when people comment, even if it's just one person. That's right. That's right. Um, but yeah, at some point, it's just gonna get tired and be like, look, make up your mind, because with all these different directions you're giving me, or it's just gonna malfunction or whatever. But what I was saying is, it doesn't reroute you back home. So a budget as well as a plan, it is to give you direction to look back on, to stay focused when life does what life is going to do. Because the only thing you can control is you. And so the purpose of a budget is to know exactly, okay, this is all right, this is where I'm at. Oh, this is happening. Okay, let me go to my budget. Let me go to my budget. Let me look at my budget. Okay. And if it's some extreme emergency, the budget will help you see where you can, where you can fit this in or squeeze this out. But if there's no emergency, the budget is to keep you in line to say, okay, I see this buy one, get one free, but it's in the want category. So I'm going to stick to my disciplines and stick to my budget. Okay. It's in the want category. That means I can't afford that. I got to stick to my budget. Because, like in The Richest Man in Babylon, there was a guy in The Richest Man in Babylon when the richest man was teaching they got together 100 men to teach them about the laws of money. Because the king wanted Babylon to be the richest city of all. And of all the building the king had done and all the gold that had been dispersed, the people who were poor before all that happened and before all this money was flowing through the city, let's equate it to 2020 when Trump was just passing out stimmies. Okay. The people who were poor before that are right back poor now because it just went through their hands like water. They just spent it. So the richest man, the king from The Richest Man in Babylon was like, what happened? Well, can money, can wealth, can finances be taught? He asked this of the richest man. Nomasir, I think it was. Say, yeah, well, yeah, the principles can be taught. So he told him to put together 100 men and he taught them in 7 days, taught them the laws. And even then, so there was one guy who was like, I reject the idea of a budget. I'm a free man. I feel like a budget would make me no more than a pack ass. And so Nomasir said, well, we're a pack ass to pack for a long trip. Is he going to pack unnecessary things? No. He's going to pack towel, food, water, the necessities. And that's it to make the load light on the donkey, the pack ass, right? So he said, who would create this budget? He said, well, me. Exactly. So why are you going to put more on yourself than what you can handle? And the way that relates to finances is why are you spending why are you spending in excess of what you're earning? Just so you can, temporarily feel good? Why are you spending money that you don't have? Why do you not have a budget and you don't know what's coming and going? You have no idea if you have a surplus or what it is, you're just spending. How is that not making you a donkey? You're not keeping track of anything. And so that's how he broke it down to him. Like, the budget isn't to make you feel like you're going without. The budget is to help you. The budget is preparing you and looking out for your future. That's the purpose of the budget. The purpose of a budget is right now, me today, I'm looking out for next year, Shalanda. Right now, 50-year-old Shalanda is looking out for 60-year-old Shalanda. Because 60-year-old Shalanda may not be in the position that 50-year-old Shalanda is in. So 50-year-old Shalanda, with the sense and the ability and the capability that I have right now, I have to take care of 60-year-old me right now because the only time is now. So I need to use this time now to take care of 60-year-old me. And that's the purpose of a budget. In simple terms, it's the present you looking out for the future you, because you don't know what may happen tomorrow. You don't know what may happen tomorrow. But today, right now, while you're capable, it's worth it to sacrifice. It's worth it to be disciplined. And just like scripture let us know, just like the richest man in Babylon, when you keep it, when you pay yourself first, When you create a budget, when you set aside 10% of all you earn, like in Richest Babylon, he said, you should repeat this every day. A portion of all I earn is mine to keep. You work, you work, you work, you pay everyone but yourself. And what the wealthy people do, like I spoke about earlier, they save first and spend what's left. Poor people spend first and then try and save what's left. And there's nothing left. There's never going to be anything left when you spend first. You got to save first. You got to pay yourself first. And then you put away this 10%, 10%, 10%. I'm not talking about, whatever people's idea of whatever tithing is, but you paying yourself. You work, you work, you work. A portion of all you earn is yours to keep. You put that away. So at the end of the year, you can go to your little stash and say, okay, this is what I have earned for me. This is mine. No one can lay claim to this. This isn't it. There's no bill unpaid that I got to pay out of this. There's no nothing. This is mine to do with what I will. And what's the second thing? And what does it say in Matthew? I'm going to take this and put it somewhere where it's going to multiply. So this is mine. This is what I have to show for the year that I've worked. Okay, yeah, you got a roof over your head. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Clothes, da, 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 da. But you had to pay everyone else for that. You had to pay everybody else for that. Everyone got a chunk of that. And then without a budget, you have nothing. You have nothing to show for your year's worth of work. Nothing. Not a piece of silver, not an investment, not anything. Just bills. Paying yourself first, you like, okay, this 120 or this 1,200 or this $1,500 that I have sacrificed and saved up all year. This is mine. No one can come and lay claim to this. This is mine. All right, so let me think about how I'm going to multiply this 1,500 that I've worked 12 months. 12 months, and this is what I have. So now for the next year, I want this 1,500 to go out to work. Now I still got to work, but now maybe this year I'm in a position to pay myself 15% of all I earn. You see, this is the whole purpose of a budget, because now with that budget, you've paid down your debt. So now you see an increase in your surplus because you've controlled your spending. You're not spending just lavishly and frivolously. So now you see more of your money because now you have created better habits and better disciplines. So year 2, I'm going to save 15%. I'm going to pay myself 15%. If you've really been good, I'm going to pay myself 20%. I can afford to pay myself 20% out of every single paycheck and then pay everyone else with what's left from the 20% that I pay myself first. At the end of that next 12 months, now you got this here. Now this is what you have to show for your 12 months of work. And you like, okay, I kind of like this budgeting thing. Keeping track of my finances, knowing exactly how much I'm spending day by day, knowing why I'm spending, going over my bills. Okay. And now in that 12 months, in them 24 months, you've learned more about investing. You've made better connections with people. So now you got this to send out to work. Now these monies are going out to work for you. Last year's monies are still out there working. Keep that in mind. That money, that 1,500 is already out there working. So you also have the 10% that you're putting away from that on top of the 10% that you're putting away from your paycheck, right? This is how it compounds. Like there's a woman whose laundry that I do. When she pays me, I pay myself from what she's paying me. all of that money is not mine because I got to put gas in my tank. That's usually what I do with the money that she pays me from doing her laundry. But a portion of that, which I usually keep 20%, I put that away. I got that on top of my YouTube, on top of my, and it may be little, but my royalties from my journals. If you need a journal, the link is in the description. Make sure you check that out and get you one. And it's just like that. It's just like that. So the purpose of a budget is definitely to benefit your future as well as your right now, because it'll feel good to have money that even if you just pull out your drawer and just look at it, even if it's just a few dollars. It's not about the amount when you get started. It's about building the habit and the discipline. It's not about the amount, but as it increased, to know that I got these dollars here that nobody can lay claim to, and then you begin to want to see it grow. This is real dopamine right here. Like, you want to see it grow. Like, you get to the point to where you don't want to touch it. Even if a thought comes through your head, you like, I don't even want to. I don't even want to. Like, no, I don't even want to, because it's always going to be a thought come to your head to spend it on a want. On a want. It's like, nah, mm-mm. What Jesus say? You can't tempt me. Don't come trying to tempt me. You're insulting me. You're insulting me. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I can't be tempted. I can't be tempted with your bullshit. Try somebody else. Don't tempt me. And that's where you'll get to that point. Your disciplines and habits will become like second nature. And it's just, you now will be more fascinated with saving, with budgeting, with watching your financial spending. So, absolutely. Are you looking at the comments? The ones that are worth looking at. I am. I'm looking at the ones worth looking at. I mean, I'm looking at them all, but I'm only responding to the ones that make sense. The last thing you said was, "Are you still talking?" I don't need to respond to that. Clearly, you hear me talking. So, but yeah, that's the purpose of a budget. But the richest man in Babylon, that will help you to, that will give you the clear financial plan to follow. I highly recommend it. I listen to this audiobook on a regular basis. I started listening to that book in 2017. You hear a lot of people talk about Think and Grow Rich, which is an excellent book. The Magic of Thinking Big, I also recommend that. The Magic of Thinking Big is a really, really good book. The books that I'm saying, they have the free audio version. I think audiobooks are excellent. I will be getting my reading glasses very soon. But what I love about these audiobooks is it frees you up. It frees up. You can listen to them. You can listen to them while doing whatever it is. And you can listen to more of the audiobook than you can read pages. What I mean by that, most readers understand that reading is very relaxing, and at some point we're going to doze off, So I love the audio books, and I definitely recommend. So The Richest Man in Babylon, the full audiobook is right here free on YouTube. The Magic of Thinking Big, the full audiobook is right here on YouTube. Another good one that is great for communication, negotiating. This may be beneficial when it comes to organizing your bills and contacting bill collectors and different things like that, or utility companies and different things. It's called Never Split the Difference. Never Split the Difference. The full audio, again, it's right here on YouTube, free. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. I love audiobooks and free from the library. Oh, so I can listen on my phone. Oh, I didn't know that. Yes, I love audiobooks. Never Split the Difference. It's by Chris Voss, V as in Victor, OSS. He is a former FBI hostage negotiator. I cannot recommend that book enough. Never Split the Difference. The reason I like that book, y'all don't know me, but from my young adult years, I don't believe in compromise. I just don't think it's a thing. I think it's just made up. I think when it comes to people working together, I believe that both parties can get what they want simultaneously by working together. I do not believe in compromise. I don't. I haven't for all of my adult life, and I'll say half of my teens. It's bullshit. I don't believe in it. So that's the first thing about that book that I love because, again, never split the difference. Splitting the difference is compromise. And with him being a hostage, a former FBI hostage negotiator, he's like, what's the compromise? We can't compromise because someone's life is at line. Someone's life is at stake. There is no compromising. We have to get what we want, period, or someone's going to die. That's just it. So it's really about communication, getting what you want, and not settling to compromise, not splitting the difference. I also really liked it as someone who is a seller. It spoke a lot about pricing and pricing. It's a great, just Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Listen to it. It's a good one. It is a good one. Um, yeah, I'm an avid reader. I got books for days, but The Richest Man in Babylon, that is your financial plan right there. That is how to budget right there. The Richest Man in Babylon. The Magic of Thinking Big, that is to help form your mindset to thinking and to an abundance mindset. The Magic of Thinking Big, that will help build and frame out your abundance mindset. And Never Split the Difference. That right there will help you with communication, clear communication, negotiations, with getting what you want, um, exactly what you want at the cost that you want, at everything, like setting your price and getting it, no matter what it is. I'm talking about even if you go in to buy whatever, but it's all really about communication and the proper verbiage, which I learned from uh, a woman in Minnesota, someone that I'm acquaintances with. But anyway, those three books, I'll just leave it at that for this one. But I highly recommend all three of them, all three of them. So check them out. They are, again, right here on YouTube. And like you just said, you can get them free from the library, but they're on YouTube. I always tell my team, we never negotiate with terrorists. That's right. That's right. So I think you'll like it. I think you will like Never Split the Difference. It's amazing. It is amazing. And it's not very long, I don't think either, but I don't know. You know, it's an audiobook, so you can listen to them very easily. Meaning you are not going to bully me into doing what you want. I I got you. I got you. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's a really good one. It is a really good one. And for anyone with entrepreneur or social media or anything like that, I love Gary Vaynerchuk. I started watching him back in, I want to say, 2009, 2010. And he's got a book. It's the second one. His first one was Crush It. I didn't read Crush It, but I read Crushing It. Crushing It. It's a good one as well. So And then there's the You Are a Badass series by Jen Shinsero. I like the first one, You Are a Badass. Um, yeah. So anyway, that's it. I pretty much went over what I'm going to talk about. But the gist of all of this is money and emotions don't mix. Okay. That's the long and short of it all. Money and emotions do not mix at all. Keep that in mind. And again, repeat over and over and over and over and over again. A portion of all I earn is mine to keep. Learn to pay yourself first and spend what's left. Create a budget, stick to that budget, adhere to that budget. Do not stray from that budget. Continue to adjust the budget as needed, as your expenses change and lower, and as your income increase or whatever the case may be. Continue to adjust the budget for your future benefit, but stick to that budget and just build that discipline, build up the habit, and even just in a year, you will notice a difference. But also think about your life and your finances in 10-year increments, because a lot can happen in a decade. And when we think about how financially things change at least 4 times a year, I mean 4 times in 10 years, you know what I mean? Like, for example, the Feds just had a rate cut. Their last rate cut was in 2004. So that's already 2 rate cuts within this 10-year span, right? So how did that affect the economy? You know, how did that affect the housing market? How did that affect expenses? It's like groceries and different things like that. So if we can expect, or at least in our mind prepare for big financial changes happening, at least I just say 4 times in a 10-year span, right? Even if it's just 2 or 3, you know, you're going to have multiple changes, multiple financial, government, housing, just changes in a 10-year span. So you can only control your own controllables, which is your own finances. Even increasing your own income with whatever your side hustles may be, whatever you're good at, just put that, be a producer. Again, going back to Matthew, be a producer. You have to be a producer. You might be good at, I don't know, whatever you're good at, just you could possibly put it out into the marketplace. You know what I mean? You may have children that are good at something. One thing I recommended when I was on the Mercedes Mansion Instagram page said, if you have children that can draw, that love to draw, that are really good at drawing, consider putting together a coloring book. You know, they can create a coloring book, and you as the parent figure out how to produce it, how to get it produced, you know what I mean, to where you can put this into the market. And now people can buy your kid's coloring book, and they create the whole front page, which is colored in, and it just anything, a calendar, anything. But if your kids can draw, like, that right there opens up a whole line of easy things, because it's already something they like to do. They already spend a lot of their time doing it. Produce from that. That right there is them becoming a producer at an early age. And now you go over the whole financial side of it with them, from pricing it, from how much time, but just keep it fun, because that's all the kids want to do. But now, they're in how much how much y'all are going to charge for it, how much y'all going to put it on the market for, how much you're getting paid from it, whatever, however much it costs to produce, just different things, whatever it could be. It could be you make t-shirts where they draw or color on t-shirts and then you get that mass produced. It can be anything, but that's just one thing that I came from was like, if you got kids, because I know a couple people who has children who can draw. I'm talking about, and then there are two different styles. These two people that I'm thinking about, both of their daughters have two completely unique styles of drawing, and it's just mind blowing. Do you hear me? Mind blowing. And I'm like, if their parents would produce something from this, these kids right here would grow up now being producers instead of just consumers. Girl, you are speaking to me. My son loves art, had a show in a museum and everything, but now he works so much, he doesn't have the spare time. How old is he? Gotta be, of age if he's working. Well, that's the thing about time. We can create it. And this is exactly why, this is one of the reasons why I'm talking about this and why I've decided to change my content, because we give all of our time to everyone else when he's got, even if that's not the end all, but he's got something innately within him that he can produce from for himself and be willing to put in that time to produce for himself. He's 32. Oh, my daughter's 32. My daughter's 32. The one that I was talking about earlier, when I said as a teenager, I showed her how to save and spend, and now she lives paycheck to paycheck. Like I never taught her any of that. And now at this point, like she don't listen to anything. So yeah, I get it. I get it. Because when she was 16, we were just out walking, and I used to have a camera, and she was taking pictures, and I was like, and I was a makeup artist, so I was freelance, so I would do the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe styling, and the creative direction of all my photo shoots. I did model portfolio building. I worked. I was booked for runway shows. I also did some weddings, and so working with a lot of amazing photographers that I was working with, and being so close with, because I did the creative direction. So I was there when they were editing, and I'm looking at the raw images, and I really worked with a lot of photographers who shot in raw and not JPEG because of their editing style. So they wanted to shoot in raw. So anyway, when I saw the images and her perspective angle, on top of the fact that I went to fashion design school, I also had a very short time in interior design, but I took a couple of art classes where we were taught about perspective angles and different things. And my daughter's 5'10", so she's much taller than me. So her angles are going to be different from mine would be. But these images were amazing. And I was like, Pumpkin, you could do something with this. Because again, their mom is the type that, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to have a job, then quit a job, and then work for myself for the next few years. And to fill in between, I'm going to get a job and be there for a couple of months. And then, because I'd rather just work for myself. And my ex-husband at the time, we were still married, and he says that he had, I don't know, because I had never been to Gambia, but he said he had a photography studio in the Gambia. I know he had a bunch of cameras in our home. He was always buying cameras. He was into cameras. So I didn't have a reason not to believe him. And so he and I both told her that we can help you. We can work with you. And I was like, Pumpkin, you don't you don't have to become a W-2 slave. Like you can, these are amazing. Look at this. But she just, you know, wanted to be regular and just fit in with the regular people, living hand to mouth. And so now she's 32 and has nothing to show for her life. And, it sucks. And forgive me for saying it like that, but having, me being the mom that just always had this entrepreneur mindset and would rather work for myself, it is heart-wrenching that my kids were just hell-bent, because I talked the same thing with my son, and it's heart-wrenching for me that they were just hell-bent on going to work for someone else when I talked to them about this as teenagers. And I was willing to lay myself down so that they can, to show them. And then they saw me. They saw me as a freelance makeup artist. They saw me working for myself. And it just, for me, it was just very heart-wrenching. Like, this is what you wanted to do. Okay. You were telling my story. He was hired by Getty. Wow. Wow. It's so hard when your kids have, like, when they have this natural thing, but for me, I'd rather struggle trying to figure out my own thing than to work for someone else. That's just me. That's just me. CeeLo said it best back in the day, back in the 90s. He said, I'd rather struggle on my feet than to live on my knees. And that's the truth. That's the truth. I'd rather struggle standing tall and strong for myself, living life on my own terms. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I lived as I believe, no matter what they take from me. They cannot take away my dignity, than to live on my knees being somebody's bitch. And that's just how I look at it. I don't knock it for anyone else. I don't want anyone to take what I'm saying wrong, but I'm speaking for me, Shalanda Elise. At 14 years of age, I said, I will never work for anybody more than 2 years. I will figure out how to figure out my own life. At 14 years of age, I said this to myself. I will never work for anybody more than 2 years. And that was me. I don't knock anything for anybody else, but me, I'm not going to do it. And I've never done it. And dead ass, I just happened to look back about 10 years ago. I was like, you know what? I've never had a job more than 2 years. It can be circumstances may have happened, or like the job I probably would have had more than 2 years. It was a nonprofit and the state closed it down. It's just, when I said that, because what does scripture say? My words will not come back to me void. Okay. And when I said that at 14, baby, the universe heard me, because my vibration was sincere. I meant that. I meant that. And I believe that. I believe that I would never work for anybody more than 2 years. And with that vibration, and with me believing that, and like, that was a sincere affirmation, and it just continues to hold true. It continues to hold true. Even if I may think that, okay, I'll have this job for 5 years, it never turns out, ever. Because when I said it at 14, I meant that when I said it. And I've never had a job more than 2 years. I've never even had a job 2 years. I think 18 months was the longest. Maybe 19. No, it was a year and a half. Yeah. I've never even made it 24 months working for somebody else. And I love it. To be quite honest, I love it. I love it, because I wouldn't trade where I'm at right now. I love my life. I love my life right now. And even last night I was talking about it on my YouTube, on my Instagram stories. And like I said, there's just drips, but I love having my journals. And like I said, I have another one that I'm working on, two others that I'm working on actually. But I love having my journals on Amazon. That's a little drip. And I have to keep reminding myself that my YouTube is fully monetized. Like my videos do bring in money. And I'm like, okay, I didn't have this last year. You know, I didn't have the royalties from my journals last year. I had my I had my investments because I started investing in the stock market in 2020, and that's all I had, you know. But it was, even where I'm at now is more than it was last year. And this is the power of compound interest and compounding. Because I've invested more, I've increased my positions aggressively more than last year. And I just wouldn't, I don't have anything to complain about. I genuinely love my life. I love the fact that all I focus on um, is finances. And then for my entertainment, I watch hip hop shit. You know, I'm a hip hop head. That's it. Like I don't, besides hip hop, I don't watch anything for entertainment. Just hip hop. That's it. I don't watch movies. Um, I never was a reality watcher. I was never a TV watcher, but reality nonsense, none of that's for me. Hip hop, music. I listen to music when I, like, if I'm in between and I feel like listening to music, I'll go to my YouTube music. I may listen to some music. I don't do that very often. But all I watch is financial things. All I watch is wealth building things. All I watch are stories, life stories of, like, IKEA, Gucci, his life story, you know. And one of my favorites is IKEA because I love how he got the business set up to where it won't ever be out of the family. I love watching his story. Magnates Media is the channel. I watch that channel. I just, that's all I'm interested in. Is just learning more about building wealth. Hey Cheryl, I read the book Richest Man in Babylon this summer. Uh-huh. They really should be teaching in the schools. Exactly. Making my kids read it. Enjoying your new content. That is awesome. It is a really good book. Good night, Delicately Blessed. It is a really, really, really good book. Okay, so I see that 78% of you said that you track your money spending. That's awesome. That is phenomenal. I'm very happy to hear that. I do. I definitely do. Um, which is why I don't spend very much and why I don't feel the need to just spend. I am also very glad to hear that you guys like the new content. I feel freer, you know, not trying to fit into a space that isn't my space to fit in, which is van life and talking about van life. That was a huge struggle for me. And, you know, I felt like because I live in a van, then that's what my channel should be. But from when I got sick, you know, that the month that I was sick, I've been struggling with my content since then. And you'll probably notice, but I've been struggling with my content since then because even before that, you know, I was just trying. But what was I talking about then? All I was doing was spending time in the library, working on my journals. Because I was like, I got to get these done so I can get them put on Amazon. Like everything was just about my entrepreneur goals. And creating little things to put into the marketplace. So I'm very happy to hear that uh, you like the new content. So it's just going to increase from here. And I also feel more comfortable because I'm looking at people who are further, than I am, and actually have more money, uh, like liquid saved up. Like I'm not substantially liquid, right? I have assets, but I have to liquidate them assets. But I'm working towards with those assets and with my the way I manage my money. I'm working on being more liquid, but I want to do some. I want to team up with some other people. So I have intentions and goals and plans of really bringing some good content on this channel with collaborations, live collaborations from people that say some of the same things that I've been saying even before I encountered their channel. Like when I see them, I'm like, that's what I say. I've been saying that shit for 2 decades. I've been saying that for 15 years. That's what I say. This is what I talk. But to see them in a different position, it would fit well. So I just want to find people who are willing to collaborate with me because they have much bigger channels than I do. And I really want to bring forth great financial content for everyone, but with the heavy focus being on Black Americans, because we know that talking about money and finances and financial planning is not something that we grow up with, and talking about money is very taboo for some reason. So that's the only reason I say it like that. But I also have the new name. I will be changing the name of the channel again one last time, and I already have that. I'm not going to share that yet, but the channel name came to me last night, and I love it. I love it. I love it. And again, it just came to me, so I like it. I can use it in a sentence. It flows. It's perfect. So anyway, thank you for the poll. Make sure you guys like the video. I appreciate it. And thanks for chatting with me this night, talking about money over emotions, because baby, they don't mix. And it was a great conversation. It really was a great conversation. Let's go ahead and end this poll. Once again, happy first day of the week. You guys have an amazing week, and I will see you in the comments. Make sure you watch the last videos that I've posted. Comment, share, like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I'll see y'all in the comments.